Throughout their long and illustrious bi-coastal history, the Dodgers have produced countless baseball legends. Jackie Robinson, Sandy Koufax, Clayton Kershaw. The list goes on. None of those greats, however, captured the public imagination as powerfully or as immediately as Fernando Valenzuela, a pudgy, screwball-throwing left-hander out of Mexico. From practically the moment he arrived in Los Angeles, Valenzuela was a sensation, with his outsized success and one-of-a-kind look turning him from an obscure rookie into a genuine cultural phenomenon. Ultimately, Fernandomania defined LA's Unforgettable 1981 campaign, a charmed summer in which Valenzuela not only helped snap the Dodgers' decade-and-a-half-long championship drought, but reshaped the franchise's fan base and cemented himself as an icon in the process. After capturing 3 World Series titles in their first 8 seasons in Los Angeles, the Dodgers went quiet in the late 60s and early 70s, stumbling through their longest pennant drought since World War II. And despite eventually re-emerging to conquer the National League in 1974, 1977, and 1978, Los Angeles came up empty in each of those trips to the World Series. As the decade turned, it seemed as though the Dodgers might have missed their window, finishing with a losing record in 1979 before missing the postseason again in 1980 after losing a 1-game playoff to the Houston Astros for the NL West title. In reality, however, Los Angeles was on the verge of an epic resurgence, one fueled by an unlikely hero. As the 1981 campaign dawned, Valenzuela was indeed on the radar of Dodgers fans, having impressed out of the bullpen as a September call-up the season prior, but a household name he was not. A portly left-hander with a unique delivery, Valenzuela had turned pro as a teenager in Mexico, and it wasn't long before he caught the attention of a Dodgers scout, who eventually bought out his contract for $120,000 in the summer of 1979. At the time, incidentally, Valenzuela's repertoire didn't feature a screwball, a rare and hard-to-master off-speed pitch that moves in the opposite direction of traditional breaking balls like curveballs and sliders. However, the youngster quickly developed a unique feel for the Scroogey after being introduced to it by fellow Dodgers pitcher Bobby Castillo. By 1980, it was Valenzuela's signature offering, and he used it to great effectiveness down the stretch that year for LA, allowing no earned runs across 10 relief appearances for the Dodgers while holding opponents to a .136 batting average. Still, as impressive as he was in his first big league action, Valenzuela was hardly supposed to be the star of the Dodgers pitching staff in 1981. In the absence of Don Sutton, the franchise's all-time wins leader who had left for Houston in free agency that winter, veterans Jerry Royce and Bert Hooton were expected to step up as the leaders of the rotation. Meanwhile, newly minted all-star Bob Welch was poised to shoulder a heavy workload himself. Except when opening day arrived, none of those 3 were available. Royce was felled by a last-second calf injury, Hooton was still recovering from a procedure to remove an ingrown toenail, while Welch was incapacitated by a bone spur in his elbow. So, with no better options to choose from, Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda decided to hand the opening day assignment to Valenzuela, marking the first time in franchise history that the Dodgers started a rookie on the mound for their season opener. Put another way, Valenzuela's first major league start was coming on opening day in front of a crowd of more than 50,000 and against none other than the Astros, the team that had crushed Los Angeles' playoff hopes the season prior. As apprehensive as Lasorda and the Dodgers may have been, though, for Valenzuela, the gig was, as he put it, pedazo de pastel, a piece of cake. Valenzuela devoured the Astros, allowing just 5 hits and 2 walks over 9 scoreless innings to lift the Dodgers to a 2-0 victory. Never before had a pitcher so young thrown a shutout on opening day. It hasn't happened in the 4 decades since either. And so began one of the most compelling stretches of pitching in baseball history. From that auspicious opening day start onward, Valenzuela was virtually untouchable for the next 5 weeks. His next time out, on the road in San Francisco, he allowed only 1 run while racking up 10 strikeouts in another commanding complete game performance. Valenzuela then followed up that outing with a complete game shutout. And then another, and then another. 1 month into the season, Valenzuela had thrown 5 complete games in as many outings, 4 of them shutouts. By the middle of May, his streak of consecutive 9-inning outings had stretched to 8, 5 of which were shutouts, and he had given up a total of 4 earned runs. 4 earned runs in 72 innings! His ERA stood at a microscopic 0.5. Oh yeah, and the Dodgers were 8-0 with Valenzuela on the mound. Simply put, he was a marvel, an unorthodox, seemingly unathletic 20-year-old, dominating like no rookie pitcher had before, and the baseball world was utterly enchanted. With each successive complete game gem, the collective infatuation with Valenzuela grew bigger and bigger. The burgeoning superstar, who barely spoke a word of English, quickly found himself on magazine covers, cereal boxes, even woven into song.
His baseball is his weapon, deadly to his foes. His screwball is his coup de grace. This every hitter knows. La, 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 la.
The Fernandomania frenzy eventually became so intense that it was referred to as a religious experience by legendary Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully. And as his celebrity exploded, Valenzuela became a galvanizing force for Los Angeles' sizable Latino community, and specifically its Mexican community, which had long resented the Dodgers for displacing families from their Chavez Ravine homes years prior to build Dodger Stadium. Yet, their contentious relationship with the franchise notwithstanding, the Mexican community of Southern California nevertheless found an idol and an inspiration in Valenzuela, whose remarkable start catapulted him to a level of stardom far greater than any Mexican-born big leaguer before him. Quickly, Valenzuela's starts became events, with fans flocking to Dodger Stadium to catch a glimpse of this incredible rookie. In fact, according to veteran baseball writer Ben Lindbergh, Valenzuela's home starts in 1981 drew an average of nearly 13,000 more fans to Dodger Stadium than the typical home game. And many of those fans who showed up to watch Valenzuela looked like Valenzuela. And the Dodgers, who had been trying for years to court LA's robust Latino community and were actually the first MLB team to broadcast its games in Spanish, took steps to help this new contingent of fans feel comfortable and welcome at Dodger Stadium, adding Spanish-speaking ushers and playing Mexican folk music over the PA system.
There's really not much left to say about this young man, is there?
Eventually, of course, Valenzuela's streak had to end, and on May 18th, against the reigning World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies, it did. For the first time that season, Valenzuela failed to complete 9 innings, and for the first time in his career, Valenzuela got saddled with the loss. And while that performance kicked off a bit of a downturn for the youngster, he was about to get a timely breather. In late May, the Major League Baseball Players Association voted unanimously to strike, as the union had grown increasingly disgruntled over issues pertaining to free agent compensation. So, for nearly 2 months, the union and the owners went back and forth, with the strike only getting resolved in late July. And when the second half of the unprecedented 81 campaign got underway in August, Valenzuela was seemingly rejuvenated. Over his final 11 starts, Valenzuela crafted a 2.51 ERA, a largely dazzling stretch run that included 3 more shutouts and a 10-inning 1-run masterpiece against the Pittsburgh Pirates. By season's end, Valenzuela had set a new live ball era record for shutouts by a rookie. Meanwhile, his 2.48 ERA and league-leading 180 strikeouts easily earned him the NL Rookie of the Year award and also helped him narrowly edge out Tom Seaver for the Cy Young Award. To this day, Valenzuela remains the only pitcher to win both awards in the same season. His tour de force rookie campaign wasn't over yet, though. As summer turned to autumn, Valenzuela continued to dazzle for the Dodgers, who earned a spot in the rejigged postseason by virtue of winning their division in the first half of 81. Valenzuela was sublime in both of his division series starts against the Astros, allowing a total of 2 runs over 17 innings to help LA vanquish Houston, the proverbial thorn in their side, and earn a spot in the National League Championship Series. There, Valenzuela continued to shine, memorably hurling 8 2/3 exceptional innings at Olympic Stadium in a do-or-die Game 5, a heroic effort that got obscured by Rick Monday's indelible homer that propelled the Dodgers to their first pennants in '78.
That ball is out of here, and a home run for Rick Monday, and the Dodger bench clears to congratulate Rick Monday, who has hit a 2-out home run here in the 9th inning.
All season long, the Dodgers and their increasingly legendary rookie had been the talk of baseball, And now, all that stood between them and their first championship since 1965 was their old nemesis, the New York Yankees. At the time, of course, the Yankees, to borrow an anachronistic phrase, lived rent-free in the Dodgers' heads, having bested them in the World Series in '77 and '78. And as the '81 Fall Classic unfolded, history looked poised to repeat itself, with the Yankees taking a quick 2-0 lead in the best-of-7. But in the face of those almost insurmountable odds, guess who stepped up to thrust Los Angeles back into the series? Yep, it was Fernando Valenzuela. In Game 3 at Dodger Stadium, Valenzuela grinded his way through 9 gutsy innings, settling down after some early trouble to help Los Angeles secure a 5-4 win.
2-2 pitch. Fernando Valenzuela. That wasn't one for the art museum, but it was efficient and he got the job done.
He wasn't at his sharpest that night, issuing 7 walks while allowing 9 hits and throwing 146 pitches, but with the Dodgers' backs against the wall, El Toro willed his team to a desperately needed victory. And as fate would have it, that was the last game he'd pitch in 1981. Ultimately, Valenzuela's performance in Game 3 helped turn the World Series on its ear, as the Dodgers took each of the next 3 games to complete their improbable comeback and capture their first championship in 16 years. It was a fitting end to a uniquely spellbinding season, and the Dodgers' World Series title ultimately cemented Valenzuela at the age of 20 and with only 1 full season under his belt as a franchise icon. He would go on to spend another 9 seasons in LA, earning a total of 6 All-Star appearances with the club, but his impact goes beyond All-Star appearances or World Series titles or no-hitters. Valenzuela, after all, effectively reshaped the Dodgers fan base, as his meteoric rise turned generations of Latinos into Dodgers fans. In fact, roughly 4 decades removed from Valenzuela's unforgettable first big league start, Latinos comprise more than 50% of Dodgers fans, and roughly 2 million Latinos stroll through the Dodger Stadium turnstiles each year. That was simply unimaginable back in 1959, when the Dodgers first started broadcasting games in Spanish while simultaneously dispossessing Mexican families of their Chavez Ravine homes. Fernandomania may have lasted only a short time, but its impact is still felt almost a half-century later. That's why no Dodgers pitcher will ever wear the number 34 again. Valenzuela was truly a transformative figure, and his epic start in 1981 will forever be one of the great marvels in baseball history. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button.